Thank you for those who are in attendance for joining us this morning. We know running a business is a very time-consuming effort, and taking time out of your day to be here is, we really appreciate that. So the Downtown San Mateo Association has been working with CivicMic and NBS since 2019, actually, to engage and educate business owners in the improvement area about services and the associated fees for those services. So the association's primary goal is to understand the community's priorities, right? And to build a thriving partnership with all of business owners. This meeting is recorded. We will be able to share it on civicmic.com/DSMA, and that's for Downtown San Mateo Association. If you haven't visited the website, please take a look. There's a lot of educational material out there in regards to the services and the associated fee for those services. We'll keep everyone on mute throughout the presentation, and then at the end, we'll go over how we'll just ask questions, but I think it'll be pretty easy with this group. And any questions that we will not have the meeting last more than an hour, because we do respect your time. And we know that after about 30-45 minutes, people kind of start glazing over anyways, including myself, right? So we will make sure to end the meeting at an hour, and any questions that come up after the meeting or that you have at the end and we just don't have time to address, please feel free to email CivicMic, contact@civicmic.com. We'll put our contact information at the end. Any one of us on the call, the Downtown San Mateo Association, their contact information, but we have a 1-800 number as well, which is 1-800-676-7516. If you come up with questions, or you can email me directly, dwood@civicmic.com. So with that, I guess let's go ahead and get started. I think that we normally, like I said, we normally go over a whole list of, we want to hear everyone's opinion. We won't tolerate any slander. I guess for this group, I will still say that if, if there is slander, we will remove you from the meeting and allow you to cool off and bring you back. But if you continue down that path, then we'll remove you from the meeting. We want to hear everyone's viewpoint, and we know that some people have different perspectives than others, and that's what this meeting is about, is answering questions and valuing everyone's perspective, whether it's the same as ours or not. So with that, our first presenter is Lou Cohen, the current president of DSMA and local business owner. Lou will cover the history of the district.
Good morning. Thank you all for attending. I've been on board with the DSMA for about 4 years, and actually 5 years. At the time I came on board, we had an executive director, a full-time person that also had some staff. Shortly after my joining the board, we lost our ED, and we've been operating on an all-volunteer army for a couple of years with a little paid staff, just to help us with social media and get out our newsletters. So every year, the Downtown Association, which is a few square blocks of downtown San Mateo, has to get reapproved from by way of the city council to do business. So we're a nonprofit corporation that exists solely to benefit just the downtown. The city levies an extra assessment, which is included on your business license form that you get every year, which levies a small assessment that helps to support us. And that's how we survive. And if the city council thinks that we've been careful with that money and spending it wisely, after we show them what we've done that year, they all vote as to whether or not we re-up for another year. So, our primary thing downtown is, San Mateo is a really nice place to be in terms of businesses, and businesses want to be there. And one of the reasons is that it's clean and together. We often talk about Disneyland clean, and we're striving for that level of cleanliness. I know we're not there, but with our limited resources, we're close. And if you go to other downtowns, I think you'll notice the differences. So to sum up, I really think that the outreach we do, the fact that we're available to businesses to answer questions, we answer daily calls on our landline at our offices downtown that we respond to. We also answer all email questions. Sometimes we can answer them. Sometimes we refer them to, the proper state agency or the city government or whoever, whether it be the police department or public works. And, I got to say, the city has done a phenomenal job helping businesses through this COVID period. They really wanted to see downtowns remain strong, and they tried the best they could with outdoor dining and other things, relaxing rules, and just trying to work with business owners to make sure that we tried to help keep them afloat. So, one of the strongest things that I think the DSMA accomplishes that we haven't really, that's not quantifiable, is the relationship that we have with the city. Because we've held monthly board meetings throughout this whole pandemic, which are well attended. We have city staff, we have community members, we have nonprofits, we have business owners attend, and everybody gets to chime in on different issues. But the main thing is the relationship with city government that we have. We have public works and police there. We have city staff from the city manager's office, always in attendance, and it keeps them in the know and keeps our lines of communication open to the point where we have a really great relationship. When we need something downtown and we call them, it gets attended to, and action actually happens. So the strongest, part, the thing that I'm probably most proud of is that we, if we have issues downtown, it doesn't, we don't get, oh, we'll get to that later. For the most part, they're on it and really, really helpful. So fostering this relationship with the city and helping them help us is really, really important. So I guess, Seamus, you're with me. Can you think of anything else that I might have missed about touch points about downtown?
The only thing I would chime in with is, the DSMA has tried to support as much of the cleanliness and beautification of the downtown. We do provide monthly newsletters that we send out to keep people updated on things that are going on downtown. And I'd also like to chime in that DSMA has a newly created website to hopefully drive more people with greater user access and information downtown. So those are things I'd like to at least add on.
Okay. Yeah, I would say on the cleanliness side, I talk personally with the city just about every day with either public works or somebody at city staff about issues downtown, whether it be graffiti or trash or trash in the sidewalks or in the parking garages or the stairwells. And they're really responsive. So, and the same with all of the flower pots and plantings, whether it be, broken sprinkler heads or flowers that need to be replaced. It seems like yesterday I called about something out in front of Drager's that I didn't like the looks of. And the Public Works gentleman, Lance Hall, who I speak with often, tells me, I appreciate the call, Lou, but I already have a meeting scheduled with our landscape guy, and we're looking at that this afternoon. And this is great. So they're being proactive and on it as we're thinking about it. And so that part is really great. So, and also, you've heard the horrific stories about what goes on in San Francisco, and you've probably witnessed it yourself in terms of the homeless problem. And our PD has a lot of stuff going on in terms of outreach, and they don't just try and sweep them down the road. They really try to get them services and help. One of our board members works for Vendome right here across the railroad tracks, and they really do a lot of good for downtown, just feeding people, getting them housed, getting them services. And it's a very humane approach, I think, to our homeless problem, which there's not much of because they're on it, and we really appreciate that. So I guess that just about wraps it up. I don't want to go on and on.
Thank you for that, Lou. Now we'll turn it over to Seamus Whitley to cover the BID funding details.
Hi,
Seamus?
everyone. Thank you, Danielle. I want to introduce myself. My name is Seamus Whitley. I've been working as the treasurer this is my third year here with the DSMA. So it's been, a lot of interesting things have happened, a lot of things that we worked hard to create, and just really happy to be on board and push things forward. My section of this conversation is to talk about kind of the direction that we're trying to go and give you some more detail on what we're doing. You can see in this slide, this is the map of the bid that the DSMA is supporting. The bid has two zones. The green zone is zone 1, and it receives a majority, well, maybe not a majority, it receives a lot of the benefits that the DSMA is working on. It's the thriving downtown area with the restaurants and a lot of retail. Zone 2 also has retail and some restaurants that we are supporting as well. It should be noted that Zone 1 does pay a higher assessment than Zone 2, and that tries to level the playing field. The businesses that are included within the bid assessment would be the retail, finance, hotel, which we've taken out, professional and service, and then miscellaneous, which is not going to be part of our proposed going forward fee structure. This is my opportunity to kind of talk about what we're trying to do with the structure change within the budgets and what we're trying to achieve. Currently, the DSMA has a budget of $102,000 per year to support the activities and resources that we mentioned before that Lou was able to talk about. The $102,000 budget seems like a lot, but in reality, we're in deficit financing. We are using funds that we have saved up in previous years for this rainy day, and the rainy day would of course be COVID. Our budgets are lower than our previous budgets, which were usually around $190,000. Part of that is the budget being smaller is we, as the DSMA, push to decrease the assessment for all businesses by 50% for the last 2 years. We were trying to do our best to help out businesses in any small way that we could. While doing that, we've tried to provide all the same services that we were providing before: the street cleaning, the beautification, and other the monthly sends of newsletters, and trying to keep people abreast of what's going on downtown, and trying to increase people's interest in downtown itself. Let's see. So let me talk about what we're trying to do with the new assessment. We are trying to create a budget of $350,000, which annually, which seems like a lot of money, but the reality is as Lou spoke of, we're running right now under a volunteer army. It takes a lot of effort to one, run your businesses and do your job, but to take on and shoulder the activities of the DSMA is a second full-time job, it seems like at times. We have a very active board, and I do appreciate all the effort that people put into it. But the reality is that we do need to have some sort of staff for the DSMA to drive the vision, to be on top of things, and to manage the day-to-day. So that's a large part of what this increase or this change in fee structure. Increase is really not the best word because it's not necessarily a large increase. We want to go ahead and create an opportunity for someone to be more full-time to handle and manage and support the DSMA and be the face of the downtown, getting to know the businesses and things like that. So yeah, the other part of the increase in the budget would be to go ahead and have an increase in value that the DSMA can provide. That would be an increase in services that we have already existing, but it would also give us the opportunity to have more events downtown to drive people to the downtown businesses and create new types of services that the DSMA could provide for the downtown to make it thrive further. So this slide is basically an example of where you can find on your business license bill that you get from the city. The highlighted part is a example of where you'll see your bid assessment and what you're paying for. So this is part of your business license payment. And so we just want to give you an example of where you could find this. I know that some people receive different types of business license worksheets and things like that, but overall, this is the line item for every business that is paying into the bid that the DSMA is using it for their budget. This slide is kind of a generalization of what the different tiers are going to be affected from. You'll see there's zone 1 and zone 2. We have a current rate and we have the proposed rate. And you can see tracking through this that there is approximately a 10% increase for retail, which is relatively small. The professional tiers do have a larger increase per business, and the service tiers as well, and the financial. And you'll notice there's also a line item for mills, which we have added in. They are our largest employer downtown, and part of the computation and benefit analysis that was provided was, keeping the streets clean for the number of people that actually use the downtown workers. There's also the evening crowd that comes in as well. But the downtown workers have a great impact on the downtown itself, both keeping it thriving, but also at the same time generating potentially trash and things like that we want to make sure that is all cleaned up. That's the other reason that we're working with professional and services is we're going to go ahead and calculate them per employee because it's the impact that these employees will have downtown that we're striving to keep up to the highest standards. And that's about all I have. I do appreciate you taking the time to join this meeting.
Thank you, Seamus. I think Michelle's going to cover a little bit about next steps and how to help the district out, and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah, if Bianna, you could go to the next slide. So if you all would visit civicmic.com/DSMA, you can sign up to receive updates. So every time there is something new, you would get an email directly to your email address that you signed up with. And this is really helpful because if there's future meetings, any updates, then you will receive them and be the first in the know. And then if you're interested in volunteering or helping share DSMA news, if you would like to share things such as this meeting with other business owners, please go to, or you can email contact@civicmic.com and just let us know that you would like to volunteer and help share the news and help spread the word either about this rate or district services, and really just be part of that DSMA community. All right, well, well, this is for questions. So as for questions, if you have a question, please either just raise your hand or write something in the text box if you would like to not unmute yourself, and we will be sure to answer them one at a time. Just to make things equitable, if you have a question, ask one question. We'll go to another question. We just don't want people speaking over each other. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise a hand, ask your question. We'll answer that and then go on to the next one. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Ryan, Robert?
Looks like we have a hand raised there. I'm sorry if I mispronounce this. Rafat?
Yes, Rafat
Yes, go
Haddad. Yeah, Rafat Haddad, the 3B's Coffee downtown. So is this this new proposal, does this need to be approved by the city, or does it have to have any votes from the landlords of downtown? We had a similar project or a proposal a long time ago, which was a P-bid. And we tried to kind of pass it on and try to work it with the landlords, and it didn't work. Is this something like it, or is just an increase of assessment, and that goes through the city and the city only can approve it?
So great question. I think the easiest way to respond is that first off, Rafat, no, it's not a P-bid. There is an effort going on downtown amongst some of the landlords to possibly get something like that going. That's on a 5 to 8 year timeline. This is simply an adjustment to make our assessments downtown more equitable. As you and I have talked in the past, this is just an adjustment to the Downtown Association's assessment model, so that you know, a couple $100 million software company doesn't pay less than what you are paying at your little coffee shop. And by extremes, you know, they're by example, they might have paid $100, and you know, and you might have paid 3 times that, just to simplify things. So this is just really an assessment that I have been talking with, and the prior executive director and I worked on before she left, and she tried to get this through the city, I don't know, 6 years ago, I think. Robert, you might know the answer to that, but she failed on a number of counts. But it's really about equity for the businesses downtown and the people that are helping to create the mess, help to clean it up by some level of fairness. And you know, that's really the businesses, the upstairs businesses in particular, have gotten kind of a free ride for years, and they choose downtown San Mateo because it's a good place for their employees to be. You know, they want to attract and retain great workers, and they choose downtown San Mateo because it's a lovely place to be. And so all we're asking is that they pay their share to help keep it a nice place to be. And, to be honest, all these upstairs businesses that I talk about are on board with this, really, and the increases, the minor increases to the retailers are very, very small. And if you factor in inflation at its current level, these numbers were done, or the current numbers that you're looking at as proposed increases were proposed a couple years ago before any kind of inflation was really even a factor. And now everybody knows, you're putting gas in your car every day and buying food, and all of our expenses are going up too. So that just adds to the need for this. So did I answer your question, Rafat?
Yeah, clearly. But one follow-up question is on the assessment, roughly on people who have just one office. I'm assuming it's not going to be the increase is not going to be as much as the companies that they come, the one you're talking about, where they make millions of dollars. Is that correct? Because we have a lot of offices are small offices, one kind of one-man business or one person business, in the medical art building and other buildings. So is the increase is not that much, right?
So Seamus, I'm going to defer to you, except to say that the way I understand it, it's tiered by the number of employees. That's the fairest way we could figure to do this.
That's correct. Yeah, retail is based on income, and both professional and service organizations or businesses are done based on number of personnel on a scale.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, so for the single person, there would be a single person professional or service organization. There would be an increase, but it's reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, because we have to put in account, we have a lot of buildings that were just one person in a professional office. So those, I think we don't want to get rid of those where we would have a big increase on them, I think. So just put that in consideration. I think that's what I'm trying, just to raise that issue.
Thanks, Rafat.
It looks like Ryan may have a question as well. Ryan, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, I think there's a few people here I recognize. It's been a while since I've attended a DSMA meeting, so it's nice to hear that there's an opportunity to bring some funds to the DSMA. For those that don't know, I am a business owner in downtown San Mateo. My business is Atlas. We're in our 15th year of business. I've also sat on the board of the DSMA and was the vice president. I was also the chair of the marketing committee and the downtown arts committee. I wanted to find out if there's any opportunity, not to skip many steps in this conversation, but if there's any opportunity to invest some of that into downtown arts and culture. We had a nice mural program going, and then it just kind of came to a screeching halt, and would love to see more of that, because as a business that thrives on bringing people into arts and culture, I think that it would be nice to see some more of that.
Well, I too love art, Ryan, and I'm always open for ideas. It takes, especially in our present situation, it takes people to drive these things, as you well know. And all of us, we've had our hands full just trying to keep the doors open in terms of what we can do. But I would love to see more art downtown. There's lots of opportunities to partner with the city, to get grants, to do murals. This stuff is all doable. We just need places to put it and the people to get behind it to make it happen. So I encourage your involvement and support to see more art downtown.
Lou, how would you like to see Ryan's involvement? I mean, what would be the best way and timing of that? Is that to attend a DSMA board meeting, or do you have a special meeting in regards to budget items?
Well, I think, the first thing is to put up a mural, you need a place to do it, which means you have to get approval from the landlord or the city, if it's city property, which is doable, but that's the first step. And we've been down this road sometimes. I think the last time Ryan tried to get some art up downtown, he had a big problem trying to get the landlord's okay on the wall to put it on. And I'm, totally on board with art downtown. I love murals, and I think that Ryan knows the steps. He's welcome at a board meeting anytime. We answer phone calls. He can walk into my shop and talk to me or call me. It just takes people doing it. It's just that simple. We at the DSMA have been really careful. Ryan, you may or may not know that we halved our fees during the pandemic to give business owners a little bit of a break. And, this has really crimped our ability to do a lot of things. Although we've maintained most of our services, we can't think about huge things because we just have been really tight on money. So yes, I think this increase also gives us a little more wiggle room to work on, other needs downtown and projects. And certainly we're open for more art. Yeah.
So I think I'm hearing, once this goes through, if you're able to get a director in place, someone that has more time that can invest in the events for Downtown San Mateo Association, then that would be a good time for Ryan to reach out and work with you guys, maybe send something out in the newsletter, asking for people to get involved and spearhead some events like that.
Absolutely. And, this thing, especially like if we're talking about murals, this is not a crazy expensive thing to do, or it doesn't really need to be. We don't have to really wait. If we have some proposals about the type of art and where we're going to put it, I think the DSMA could look towards even starting the conversation now, because this stuff takes a long time to put into place anyway. So I'm always welcome to hear ideas and welcome your involvement, Ryan.
Great. Yeah, and I for sure, I've commissioned several murals in downtown. The largest one being the train station mural. I'd say one of the smaller ones being in the I think it's the Main Street garage. I definitely have locations. I have artists lined up. I'd say funding is the only challenge. So if maybe you could support with trying to get the funding, and I could support with bringing the artists and the locations, we could have a party.
Sounds great. Yeah, why don't you reach out to us about getting on the agenda at a future board meeting, and we can you can talk about the type of art that you want to propose and where you have places to put it and your estimates on how much it's going to cost, and and we can open it up for discussion amongst the board.
Sounds great. And would I email you directly, Lou?
That's fine. Yeah, you can always. That's fine. Probably be the best way.
Great.
Okay, thank you for that, Ryan.
Thank you.
Robert, did you have any questions or? Any additional questions from anyone?
No, I heard what Ryan said, and downtown art has been a part of downtown, especially under Ryan's leadership, and it's good to hear Ryan on the call here. The only thing I'll add is in the last 10 years, 12 years, the face of downtown has really changed. You go back to paperwork about downtown 15 years ago, and downtown San Mateo was called the retail district. Well, it's not a retail district anymore because the trend of, unfortunately, that retail has been moving out, just not downtown San Mateo, but other downtowns. And you have restaurants coming in, which has really made downtown vibrant, and also the service sector. So the reason I bring it up is the disparity between the assessments 15 years ago is completely different from where it is now. So this reassessment proposal has definitely been in the work for years. And the reason it was kind of put on the back burner, as Lou and Seamus said, is because of the pandemic. But this was not something that just came up in the last year. We've been working on it. The old assessments, unfortunately, with the executive director's position, ate up a lot of the assessment because of the fringe benefits and the salary. And so now, looking ahead with the reassessment, I think it'll be a lot more equitable and fair to the present face of downtown. So I ditto what Seamus and Lou said. I couldn't have said it better.
Great, thank you for that, Robert. Well, I think if we don't have any additional questions, we really appreciate everyone attending and providing comments and questions. We will be posting this on civicmic.com, and if you are signed up, you'll receive a link to that so you can share it with other business owners in the community. And if any other questions come up, after today, please feel free to reach out to us so we can get those questions answered for other community members that most likely have the same questions. Anything else that you'd like to add, Lou or Seamus, before we end the meeting?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered a lot, and I just want to add that we're here. Anybody that reaches out to us gets a response, and we will try to get back to you and help with any questions or needs that you have downtown.
Yeah, and thank you for joining the meeting. So we really appreciate Rafat and and Ryan joining the meeting. So thank you very much for your inputs.
Thank you.
All right, well, have a great day, and we look forward to talking to all of you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.